And it's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you, and I hope you'll give a warm Alabama welcome to the next First Lady of the United States of America, Heidi Cruz.
Can't hear.
I've got a loud voice that Ted knows, so I'll go without the mic. Thank you for this warm Alabama welcome. We have been on the Cruz Country Christmas Tour for a few days now, and I can tell you, I think Alabama is Cruz country. We have been traveling the country, the whole United States. And I think this country is turning into Ted Cruz country. Now, I know why I got on board with Ted 15 years ago. And I know why I got on board with him running for the Senate 4 years ago. And I know why I got on board with him running for the presidency of the United States last summer. And before he comes up, I'd love to share some of that with you. But what I didn't know is if everybody else would get on board with me. I know how talented, steadfast, principled, and what an incredible messenger Ted Cruz can be for all of our values. But I didn't know how many people would agree with me, and I have been so excited, energized to see state after state, month after month, so many people around this country seeing what I see in Ted, and helping us build the grassroots army, the volume of people, of volunteers, of voters, and raising the money to have Ted be on the way to being our nominee. So Ted is #1 in Iowa, and we have 2 little girls. Caroline is 7 and Catherine is 5. They're both here today. You'll have the chance to meet them. And I was telling Caroline this on the way to school the other day, and she said, "Mom, that was yesterday's news." And I said, "Well, nationally, he's #2." And she said, "I think you guys should try to be #1 nationally." So we're on our way. We're working on that. And with all of your support, I know we can get there. As Ted always says, we can't do this, but you all can. And we thank you for being here this morning, for coming out on a weekend near the holidays with your families. We're overwhelmed by the amazing Alabamans that we've had the opportunity to meet. Let me take just a minute before Ted joins me to tell you why I fell in love with Ted. We met 15 years ago on January 2, so almost 15 years ago, on a campaign. And somehow God would have it that we worked on every project together for 2 weeks, and by the end of that 2 weeks, we learned that we really, really needed each other. And I'll tell you what 4 things struck me about Ted as absolutely outstanding. Ted is incredibly principled. You've all seen that in the campaign he's been running, in his term in the Senate. But I've learned what the root of that is, and it was from his family. There is nothing more important in our lives than the structure of our families, the raising of our children, and that dinner table conversation. And in Ted's house, he had brilliant parents who were committed to God, who were committed to freedom in this country. They taught him the Constitution, they raised him on the Bible, he memorized big parts of those documents and went around the state of Texas defending the meaning of the Constitution to big groups of business people as an 8th grader. His father was a freedom fighter in Cuba and believes that the elections are the way to protect ourselves from the tyranny that can be government. And we have seen that in these last 8 years. And his mother was one of the first female computer programmers in this country, the first in her family to go to college, graduated with a math degree in 1956. So when people ask me, does Ted love women? I tell you, Ted loves women who chart their own path, and he's really excited to gain that women's vote. Ted comes from strong parents and a strong family upbringing, and that's given him the principles to lead this country. Secondly, Ted has courage, and we have seen him demonstrate that in his time representing 27 million Texans. He is the only senator to have taken on every single issue that's near and dear to our hearts. In taking on the Second Amendment and defending our right to to hold and own guns, in defending the budget and the ability to cut our spending and to get our country out of this terrible economic mess. He fought in the Senate to improve our economy. Ted fought hard to defund Obamacare. When everyone said it couldn't be done, we all proceeded to win that next election with an overwhelming majority. Ted has taken on executive amnesty that this president so lawlessly has implemented. Ted has taken on every single fight because he has courage and he doesn't look around the room to see what other people are doing. And thirdly, Ted is articulate. Isn't it awesome to have a Republican candidate who is articulate? Who will speak out unapologetically for our values, who will make the argument and has a proven record of winning the argument over and over and over so that we can all go out and win the vote. The last thing I want to share with you about Ted is something that the news media will never cover, but he is the most thoughtful person that I know. Ted is the one in our family that first puts down the email and the work and says, let's go have a good time. We've gotten to see a couple movies during this campaign. Ted is a big movie buff. We always have date night on Sunday nights. It usually starts around 10:30, but we've got a couple late night venues. And I'm always the one who says we have an early morning flight, we need to skip it this week, and Ted 100% of the time says, nope, we're spending time together and we're going out. He loves to play with our daughters. He and our daughter Caroline and Catherine have an ongoing bingo game together. They love to play iPhone games, and he's a great bedtime story reader. Ted is the one who always brings huge bouquets of flowers on Valentine's. Last year I was sure he wouldn't be able to make it to the store, and so I of course went and bought flowers and had cards laid out for his mother and for myself. And he made it home and came in with a huge armful of flowers. Ted never misses the chance to love his mother, to love me and the girls, and to say thank you. And so I am very, very proud to introduce to you not only the most brilliant and principled candidate on the stage, but also a man with a big heart, with a lot of love, who cares deeply about this country. We're going to watch a video to tell you how far this campaign has come in the last 9 months, and then we'll introduce Ted. Thank you.
Tribune Media is fueled by Trussville Gas and Water.